Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I share my little tools, tips, and tricks to help you achieve your goals. My name is Rebecca and today's video is about how to deal with toxic people. So, first of all, what's toxic people to you? Generally, toxic people are people that do not make you feel good, that bring you down, people who discourage you, and it can be in very subtle ways. They can, for example, through questions, make you feel uncomfortable or have a lack of confidence in whatever you're doing right now, or even just yourself. And yeah, toxic people also include people where you always feel like you have to be someone else, where you feel like yourself are not enough, or where you are just not sure what they're going to talk about you behind your back. All of those includes toxic people for me. For you, the list may be smaller or wider, I am not sure. But anyway, if you feel that a person is toxic, then what can you do about it? So first of all, there are, of course, different types of situations. There can be toxic people in your friends circle where it may actually be the easiest to deal with them because you can just avoid them. This may, of course, be the easiest solution for some people, but it's not always really possible, especially if you feel like toxic people are included in your family or in your workplace and you cannot just change your workplace an indefinite number of times. So yeah, in these situations, how do you deal with them? Well, first of all, when it comes to me is when I've realized that there are toxic people in my life, I try to distance myself from them. So I try to spend less time with them. That means even if I feel like family members are toxic, or people in my workplace, people at university, people at school, people in my friend circle that are not really my direct friend circle, but more like the indirect bigger circle, then I just try to focus more on the people, spending time with the people that are actually good for me and that I feel happy and confident and enough with. And the other thing is to actually very kindly kind of not really confront them, but sometimes I felt like it worked to actually just ask questions to that person. So, for example, if I would feel that people would try to manipulate me to go in a specific way, or would try to talk bad about other people in front of me. So, by the way, this for me is a huge red flag. If somebody else talks in front of me negatively about other people they actually call friends, I'm very sure that they're also going to talk about you the same way behind your back. So if I've realized there are these kind of people around me, then I actually try to distance myself from them immediately. And I also try to catch myself when I'm about to talk negatively about friends in other situations, because then I try to go stop myself there and rather address it with that person directly rather than to complain to other people about it, because I don't want to be that type of person either. So, but back to the original topic, when you are at the point where you notice that people are kind of toxic and you don't feel good, what can actually help is questions. And why questions do actually help me. So, when people, of course not when they talk negatively about others, because then they just get into the gossip part, but if it's, for example, if they try to talk down on you, or if they're trying to be very negative about something you actually want to achieve, then you could just be like, oh, why do you feel that way? Or you could actually, which is something that even helps me even more, is to say thank you for sharing and not really go into any detail. Because if you ask why, you actually invite their negativity in a way, and then it's gonna be, if they give you all the reasons for whatever it is, whether they're complaining about something you're doing or just thinking you're never going to achieve your goals, then if you ask them why, you actually invite all these reasons in for you to contemplate later. So in these moments, what I try to do even more than asking questions is actually just going like, thank you for sharing. thank you for sharing your opinion, and then leave it exactly there. Because if you leave it there and if you just say thank you for sharing your opinion, well, then in a way it gives them a subtle sign to shut up, because you don't ask any questions, you don't go into it, and you can immediately change the topic. You can, after whatever they're saying, you can just be like, oh, thank you for sharing your opinion, and then you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, or also take the initiative and leave if that's what you want to do. And how do you do that when people are actually very close, like for example in your family? Well, and you're stuck there because for example you're underage and you have to live with your parents, or there are just those family meetings you cannot get around because you don't want to disappoint the half or the part of the family that you actually really like. So in these moments, what I try to do is actually be as positive as I can and not take it personal, which sometimes is easier than others. I know, especially when people are trying to manipulate yourself, it can sometimes be difficult to distance yourself from that manipulation because we're not always aware of it. But what I try to do is actually just distance myself from whatever is said and literally in my head argue that's not me. Whatever they're saying, whether they're making a compliment or compliments are good, but whether they're making criticism or an indirect suggestion, or whether you just feel like you're compared and you're always coming short, or if they're calling you the black sheep of the family, or whatever it is, if they're just talking bad about you and you feel you're not enough, I just literally in my head declare at that moment, that's not me. Because whatever anybody else does or says to you is irrelevant unless you have a thought that has a similar direction, a similar emotion behind it. If you feel like you're absolutely beautiful, then somebody can say, oh my God, you're so, for example, you're so ugly, you're way too skinny, or you're way too fat, or your clothes are terrible. And you're just going to be like, okay, that's their opinion, but you're not going to take it personal. But if you actually have the thought in mind, oh my God, am I too skinny? Am I too fat? Are my clothes funny? Then this criticism actually sticks. So for me, these toxic people are also sometimes an opportunity to take stock of my own limiting beliefs and then to actually turn them into positive intentions, positive affirmations, or just into work on them later with a belief changing process. So yeah, if you have toxic people in your life and you cannot avoid them, I would actually try to utilize these incidents, because you're always going to have people that are not going to support you. And even if they care about you, sometimes, for example, they just don't get your vision. So you may have a goal, for example, your parents want you to be a lawyer or a doctor, but you actually really want to be a social worker because you want to help somebody, or you want to travel the world, whatever it is. Your parents may actually be scared that you're not fulfilling their plans, that you're not going to live a successful life according to their terms, and then it can form into or develop into a toxic relationship if they're trying to push you to something and you don't really want to directly go against it but are indirectly turning against it. So in this situation, you can actually use the negativity, use the negative emotions to actually turn them around and to become more confident and stronger in yourself. And yeah, so just to sum it up quickly, the easiest or the fastest step is to distance yourself, and what I like to call love them from a distance, when you feel that people are negative, because hating on them people is just going to bring you more hate in your life, so don't do that. And another possibility is to take the lessons out of there. If you go into toxic, if you cannot get around them, to actually focus on, okay, what can I learn from this situation? Or you can just try to shift your focus to things you can appreciate in that moment. Yeah, so if you have any other ways how you usually deal with toxic people or toxic behavior, make sure to share it in the comment box below. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I see you in the next video. Bye bye.